Hopefully this works. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Share. Copy. I'm doing it now. I'm just doing it now. Okay, should be able to see it. Let me know.
On my screen, it says we're live on YouTube.
Yeah, my husband's going to log into our Wyckoff website just to make sure it's actually working.
Yeah, mine says live as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does say live on the top.
Okay. Think we're good.
Before we start, I have some information and news I have to share with the team. That in the last month since we met, my husband has received an opportunity in California. And we will we keep our house here, but we will be moving in maybe 10 to 15 days.
Wow.
Congratulations.
So I'm not sure the logistics, if it's all remote, if you would still want me to serve, I don't know the details, but so I will no longer be physically in the Wyckoff presence.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Sarah.
Sarah, is that permanent or is it a temporary?
No, it's a position that he's going to come in, kind of retool the company, take it public, and then we're coming back to Wyckoff. So
Okay. Well,
I will be coming back. Just you'll have a reprieve for me for a while.
Nice. All right.
Congratulations.
Enjoy wine country, right?
Thank you. So I need to make sure that I'm not sure who I will send a letter and publicly make sure everyone knows, but
Very nice.
Sarah, I'm fashionably late, so you might want to tell me what's going on.
I will be moving to California.
No shit.
For 3 years. We're keeping the house here. My husband just since the last meeting got a really great opportunity. So.
Well, that's where you're originally from, right?
Yeah. So the kids will get spoiled for a couple years with my parents, and then we'll come back to shoveling snow.
Good for you.
No one thinks we'll return after we get the weather there, but you know.
Nice. Well, good luck.
Thank
By
you.
the way, Mark, we're streaming live on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't say anything bad.
Mr. Mayor.
Still 7:29, Mark. So
Minor
There you
detail.
go, early.
Who are we missing?
Kevin Hanley.
I didn't really get replies, so I don't know who's not planning on coming to the meeting.
I'm sure Kevin's coming on. Kevin Hanley.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Rudy said he was going to be on.
Rudy's
He's
here.
on.
Saw him a minute ago. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Here comes
Glenn-
Kevin Hanley.
Rudy, you're
Glenn
on
said
mute-
he
mute,
won't
by
be
the way.
on.
Here's Mike.
Glenn is not coming on. There's Mike.
Are we missing anybody? We might as well get started.
Yeah, I guess so. It's 7:30.
Okay.
Do it.
All right. Hope everybody's doing well. I'll read the opening statement. We have an extra one today. So Township of Wyckoff Open Public Meetings Act. Please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103, issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency in the state of New Jersey, the Planning Board of the Township of Wyckoff does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens, the meeting of the Zoning Board of the Township of Wyckoff scheduled for this evening, Wednesday, June 10th, 2020, will be conducted virtually through Zoom technology, and it will be live streamed on the Township of Wyckoff's YouTube channel. The work session is scheduled for 7:30, and the public business meeting will begin at 8. p.m. These measures are implemented to allow members of the public to observe the meeting via live streaming and to provide the ability to comment during the periods for public comment during the meeting through Zoom telephone call-in technology. Joining the meeting by telephone will be utilized as security against the sharing of inappropriate video content. General instructions regarding access to the meeting is posted on the Wyckoff website's homepage at www.wyckoff-nj.com as a quote news item. And the work session opening statement, the June 10th, 2020 work session of the Wyckoff Planning Board is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. A copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the Township Clerk, the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald and News. All newspapers with general circulation throughout the Township of Wyckoff. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and mailed to said newspapers. Members of the public are welcome to be present at this meeting. However, in accordance with Section 7A of the Open Public Meetings Act, participation on the part of the public at this meeting will not be entertained. Can we have a roll call, please, Maureen?
Mr. On,
Here.
Mr. Alexandru, Ms. Caprio,
Here.
Mr. Riato,
Here.
Mr. Homechak,
Here.
Mr. Fisher,
Here.
Mr. Seetsma, Mr. Boonstra,
Here.
Mr. Pervin,
Here.
Mayor Shanley,
Here.
Chairman Fortunato.
Here. Okay. Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. If you didn't hear Sarah's news, she's, I guess, going to be relocating back to California, at least temporarily. So I guess you're going to do that before the next meeting, huh, Sarah?
I will. We're still going to keep our residents here. We're most likely going to rent it. So I'm not sure how that impacts my ability to virtually serve, but whatever is possible, I'm happy to help, but I understand limitations with residential addresses. So
I would suggest you talk to Mr. Hanley about that, because if there's a residence issue, if you're still living in Wyckoff or not, but we hope you can stay on. We certainly will miss you. And if we don't have an opportunity to see you again, have a great trip out there. And we look forward to you coming back.
I'll get on the YouTube. I'll still watch you guys.
I'm sure.
So that's what happened with the Rolling Stones? They got you to move out there?
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll get to the business at hand. There's not that much on this evening. The old business is the approval of the May 13th work session and regular business minutes. Did everybody have an opportunity to review them? I only had one comment on the work session minutes look fine to me. Does anybody have any changes or comments on those? Not hearing anything, I assume not. On the business meeting minutes, the only change is on the second page, Maureen. 1, 2, 3, 7 lines up, where it says retaining, and between retaining and wall, there's an R, I think, A-R-E. It looks like it's just duplicated there.
Okay, I'll fix it.
Other than that, it looked fine to me. Anybody else have any other comments on the public meeting minutes?
No.
No? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve both the work session and the public business meeting minutes from May?
Motion to approve the minutes for May.
That was Mike.
Second.
Who was the second on that?
Rudy.
Rudy,
Rudy seconded it.
thank you.
Can
Ms.
you guys hear
Caprio?
me okay? Excuse me, can you guys
We
hear
can
me
hear
okay?
you. We can hear you now, Rudy. Yeah.
Okay, good, thanks.
Ms. Caprio,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. On,
Yes.
Mr. Homechak,
Yes.
Mr. Pervin,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley,
Yes.
Chairman Fortunato.
Yes. Okay, before we get to the Kale resolution, we'll just note that the Galasso Enterprises matter, which is 825 Wyndham Court North, has been carried at Mr. Whitaker's request to the July 8th, 2020 meeting. And the only other matter on for the work session is the Gary Kale resolution, 225 Manhattan Avenue. As you all recall, anybody who was on the meeting last month, Mr. Whitaker raised the issue as to whether or not I should recuse myself. I discussed this in detail with Mr. Hanley, and Mr. Hanley is of the opinion that I probably do not need to recuse myself under the circumstances. However, in an abundance of caution, I am going to err, if at all, on the side of being conservative on this, primarily because it may go up on appeal, and I certainly don't want the issue on appeal to be whether or not I should have voted on the resolution or not. I think the board did too much work on this already. So I am going to step aside, and I'm going to cede the chair to Vice Chairman Kevin Pervin, and I will do the same during the regular meeting when Mr. Whitaker comes on to discuss his recent letter to the board regarding a possible new application. So with that, I'm going to stay on.
Point of procedure, Chairman, point of procedure.
Yes.
I'd just like to, I don't know, is Mr. Whitaker with us at this point? I'd just like to know if there's anyone else who would like to recuse themselves. We might as well get over with right now. Bruce, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Anyone else? No?
No, I have, no, I had, and I have, I will say that based upon, I raised it as an issue only because I have to, because of the representation I have with a client, but based upon current circumstances, I would not have a problem if the chairman stayed on. Just so everyone knows.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, well, I made my decision already, so I'm going to cede the chair over to Mr. Pervin at this time, and I'm going to stay on the video feed, but only as an observer, as though I was in the audience. So Kevin, it's all yours.
Has everyone gotten a chance to review the Kale resolution?
Yes.
Does anybody have any modifications or any comments on it? If not, if someone wants to make a motion, I know that myself, Ms. Caprio, and Mayor Shanley cannot vote on this resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second it.
That was Scott?
Yes.
Rudy and Scott? Thank you.
Just to be clear, Chairman, that a yes vote is a vote to deny. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
Yes, okay. Just so we're sure. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. On,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. Homichak,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
and those are the only board members who can vote on this resolution.
Well, I don't think there's anything else before us, so I guess we could take a break at this point.
Make a motion to close, Kev.
Oh, motion, anyone want to make a motion to close the work session?
Motion.
Second.
Who motioned?
I did, Scott.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Scott, Anthony,
Yeah, you got it.
Mr. On,
Yes.
Ms. Caprio,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. Homichak,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mr. Pervin,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley,
Yes.
Chairman Fortunato.
Yes. Okay, so we'll see everybody back at a few minutes before 8, okay?
Okay, just keep in mind that we will still be streaming live. I'm going to share my screen with like an intermediate that the work session has concluded and the business meeting will begin at 8 p.m. But we'll still be live.
Everybody should probably mute their screens.
Yes.
Before we come
Probably
back.
stop,
All right.
Probably stop video.
Okay, thank you.
His friends who were on the phone with her has a flat tire, and she has a Mini Cooper.
Oh, my
She's
God.
driving, she's in that hand driving.
They can't-
So they stay on the phone with me.
Can't they, because you're AAA?
Well, that's why I said, just because I don't know. It's one of those. Her parents are very wealthy, and she lives in it, but her parents, I guess, the father was the landscaping.
Well,
They go to the yard there and go put the tire on it for you. Because you.
but can she drive to the yard though?
Yeah, she just.
Oh, okay.
That's why we're on the phone with her.
Okay.
You test her something. But I said, how could you be driving a Mini Cooper with a flat tire? That has to be
I would think that BMW has some kind of roadside service.
Yeah, right, something, but I said insurance, everybody's insurance has some kind of.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right.
All you have to do is call. I think
Yeah.
it's mandatory now that they do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lay down on the floor, put it full of it. Turn on the channel.
Stay awake, Tim.
I know. It's been a long day.
I'm sure.
It didn't start out well. I had an 8:30 police committee meeting and I thought it was at 10:30. So Bob's calling me at 20 to 9.
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh no, I thought it was 10:30. I'll be right there. So I literally went there with a t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops basically and just went. And I said, you got me before I even showered. I'm here.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
let's go. So
least you
I'm
got there.
shaving and everything. So at least I shaved this time and showered for this meeting. Nobody sees me except the video.
Yeah. What do we have? 2 minutes? Aw, look at the puppy.
Got the flag this time, Tim.
Nice.
I just ran out and pulled it off my lawn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You got it this month? Okay.
Oh, you have one? I wasn't sure if you had one, so I ran out
Yes.
this one.
I have a good screen share of a nice flag flapping in the breeze, but
Nice.
we'll take your flag.
Yeah, I think I see it behind us, behind the video.
Oh, can you see it?
Is it there?
Yeah, on the side, I could see a flag.
Oh,
If you got yours up already, Maureen, we'll just use yours.
all right. I'll see how it works.
Okay.
Now we can always go to my manual one.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm always low tech.
Nothing beats the real one.
That's true.
I'm wearing my 4th of July Americana shirts today. I
We
figured
could
it's already summer.
We could have saluted the flag to your shirt.
I was gonna wear it, but I thought it was a little too much.
Is everybody back, Maureen?
Waiting
Got
for
Mark DeGeneres?
Mark. Kevin's there. Kevin and Kevin.
Rudy's back. Okay. I think everybody's back, right?
Think everybody, yes, everybody is back.
So Maureen, now should I read that?
You can just read the regular opening
The
statement.
regular one? That's what I thought. Okay. Okay, so let me get that. All right, so the June 10th, 2020 public meeting, the Wyckoff Planning Board is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. Copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. Copy has been filed with the Township Clerk, the Record, the Ridgewood News, and the North Jersey Herald and News. All newspapers with general circulation throughout the Township of Wyckoff. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and mailed to said newspapers. All applicants are hereby reminded that your application, if approved, may be subject to the terms, conditions, and payment of the affordable housing development fee requirements of the township. Information can be obtained from the Code of the Township of Wyckoff, Chapter 113-8, on the township's website, www.wyckoff-nj.com. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Okay, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Have that flag, Maureen?
Yes.
Thanks, Rob.
Hold on one second. Share my screen.
There we go.
And
Pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag
flag
of the United States.
United States of America,
To the republic.
Republic for which it stands,
One
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
oh,
Okay, thanks, everybody. Can we have a roll call, Maureen, please?
yes, Chairman. Mr. On,
Yeah.
Mr. Alexandru. Oh, he's not here. Ms. Caprio. Here. Mr. Riato.
Here.
Mr. Homechak.
Present.
Mr. Fisher.
Here,
Mr. Boonstra.
He's on mute. Rudy, you got to unmute.
He's working. There you go.
He's here.
Here.
Mr. Pervin.
Here.
Mayor Shanley.
Here.
Chairman Fortunato.
Here. No matter
Thank
how,
you.
no matter how easy we make it for George Alexander, he still can't make these meetings. Okay, so just going through the what we accomplished at the work session. We approved the May 13th, 2020 work session and regular business minutes. And we noted that the Galasso Enterprises matter, which is 825 Wyndham Court North, is being carried to July 8, 2020 at the applicant's attorney's request, Bruce Whitaker. And the resolution on Gary Kale denying his application for 225 Van Houten Avenue was memorialized at the work session. And the only other item remaining is the letter recently submitted by Mr. Whitaker on the Kale matter, to do some additional work at the property. So at this time, because I've recused myself from that matter, I am going to cede the chairmanship over to Kevin Pervin again, and I will act as just an observer. All yours, Kevin.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Rob. I know, Mr. Whitaker, you submitted a letter dated May 29th to the board. Did you want to make any additional comments aside from what's in the letter?
No, just for the record, Bruce Whitaker from the firm McDonald Whitaker on behalf of Gary C. Kale. I believe, with all due respect, my letter speaks for itself. You have denied the application for soil movement. The next step is to solve the problem as it pertains to the soil that's there right now to be removed. Lots of things have changed over the last few months, as we all know. Homes are becoming much more sanctuaries than rather just a home. Mr. Kale called me and advised me that he would like to put a pool in his backyard for his family, because this is where they're going to be spending a lot of time, and wanted to do that for the family. So he asked that I prepare a letter. I prepared a draft of a letter. I sent it to him for his approval before I submitted it to you. My letter basically is based upon the understanding that the resolution for denial of the soil movement permit would be passed, and it has been. And at this point, my proposal on behalf of Mr. Kale was to try to solve the problem by removing soil for the construction of the pool. And I outlined in the letter a procedure for that. And I outlined on the second page of the letter what benefits I thought there was for both the township as well as the applicant in trying to, I would call, solve the problem going forward. So I submitted it for that purpose, and I welcome any comments you have.
My question is, maybe this is for Mark or maybe Mr. Hanley. It seems like the letter is substantively different than the original application. So I'm wondering, can we withhold on the enforcement of the resolution for, say, 60 days and allow him to file a new application based on the letter submitted by Mr. Whitaker? Kevin, you're on mute.
Unmute. No. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
I think at this point, and I agree with Mr. Whitaker, he has to file an application with the building department. There's regard to publishing our resolution, or at least a summary of it. He has certain rights legally, obviously, to appeal. He can always file a new application. There's no application pending before us right now, although we do appreciate Mr. Whitaker's letter. I think and that's why I defer to Mark, any enforcement of our denial would have to, I think, be done by the building department enforcement. I think as a matter of courtesy, though, we can state that we, with the building department over a certain stated period of time, so that Mr. Cahill and Mr. Whitaker could get their application before the building department and move this thing forward. But I couldn't find any exact law on it, and we're not enforcement officials.
I think the board's denial of the application creates a situation where the site as it currently is not lawfully existing. So submitting a swimming pool application to the building department would really just result in a denial and would be subject to a soil moving permit application. So we would send it back to the board because we still need to get an approval for the grading and the recreation of the site as it currently exists today. So my thoughts are, and obviously I'm not the attorney, but my thoughts are is that in light of the fact that there's a standing resolution to deny the application, the applicant would have to come back to the board with a reasonably or substantially changed application. I think the incorporation of a swimming pool may actually achieve that result. So if that is the case, the applicant could submit the pool plan. If he sent it to the building department, it would come to me, it would get denied because of the fill conditions that need to be approved concurrently with the pool. And it would be before you again for the construction of a swimming pool with associated grading and retaining wall construction. In that case, the board would have to hear the application again. I think that would generally suffice as making the application a substantially changed application from what was originally heard. So it negates the issue of the application have been denied for the fill only. But again, I defer that to the legal teams. But that's how I think, and I see this thing moving forward. I can't issue a pool permit, or the building department can't issue a pool permit on a site that hasn't achieved an approval or obtained an approval for the grading that's taken place there.
Question for Kevin, possibly Hanley, and Mark. If the building department denies the pool permit, does the planning board retain jurisdiction? Appeals of denial usually go to the zoning board. Now, is that only zoning appeals, or would a pool permit?
I think in this particular instance, I'm assuming, I haven't seen a plan yet, I'm assuming that a swimming pool could easily be installed on that property without any variances. The issue is, and the only issue that requires approval would be the fact that in order to build the pool on that site prior to this project having taken place, would require the excess amount of fill that triggers the soil moving permit process with the planning board. So yes, to your question, the planning board I would see it as the planning board maintaining jurisdiction on that for purposes of approving the soil moving, not necessarily for approving the pool. The pool is just ancillary to the application.
Thank you.
So there really is not anything that the board is, anything before the board right now that we can do.
No, this is Bruce Whitaker. I'm not suggesting that you could take action on it tonight. Purpose of my letter, and it's been very helpful, is to get the direction that I just heard. Mark, just for clarification, if there were no problems with the soil, and let's just say the site, hypothetically, the site was virgin, it had not had soil movement in, but at this point, a pool was going to be installed without any variances. If my understanding, it would come in front of the planning board for a soil movement permit, correct?
Correct, because to achieve the grading that you've achieved on the site, you could, if the site was perfectly flat, you could excavate the pool, create your patio and be well within the 100 yards because pool excavations are exempt from soil moving.
Right, but because of the soil that's there, that and that has been denied as far as the grading is concerned now, that prompts the necessity for another application. That's what I had advised my client, but I just wanted to be on the same page with the board. And I don't dispute what the conclusion you've come to. That's what I said would have had to happen. If he had never brought soil in, obviously, first, we wouldn't be here, but second, if he didn't have to have any variances and go to the zoning board, he could, as a matter of right, just install a pool because that's soil movement for that. There's an exemption in your ordinance for that, correct?
Right, but he couldn't regrade the property
That's
to the
correct.
extent that he did, right?
No,
So,
not suggesting, okay.
right.
Well, if no one else has any other questions or comments, we could open this up to the public. No, Maureen?
Yes, let's see. No one from the public has called in.
Okay.
So then just one other alternative, because I'm not sure what my client is going to do, but Mark, let's just say my client decides not to construct the pool, then your approach and the board's approach, as I understand it, this is what I've told him, is that what's there now has to be removed, correct?
I would assume so. Everything would have to be removed.
Right.
The walls, the grading.
And that doesn't prompt another permit for removal, does it?
I think you probably still need a Bergen County soil removal permit. It's kind of undoing the wrongs that were done.
I was talking at the township level.
Interesting.
I mean, would we have another hearing to have it removed? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think because of the denial,
Yeah, because of the
it would have
right.
to be removed.
Right. So now Mr. Kale knows his two options. I will present him with a letter and I'll let him make a determination how he wishes to proceed. And on that basis, I thank you for your time.
Okay.
Good to see you all.
Is there a motion to close the meeting?
Take care.
Chairman, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Guys, before Mr. Whitaker leaves, I know I've recused myself from this, but Mr. Whitaker, isn't it important that your client, any kind of action that the board takes, we withhold maybe for 60 days while your client either makes an application or doesn't, because the board's going to have to make a decision at a certain point whether to enforce the resolution.
Yes, understood. And I mean, I know that the board in enforcement, there's a 45-day time frame anyway on an appeal. So if you could give us 60 days, that would be good. I'm gonna do the letter tonight to go out to him. So it's the advantage of being at home on virtual. Work doesn't stop. So I will do the letter out to him and I'll ask him to make a decision which way he wants to proceed in the 10 days. And if he's going to go with this pool and is serious, then at that point he has to submit a soil movement plan for that purpose. And if I can have that 60-day hiatus, then that would be important for us to get it processed.
Which you would have to submit anyway as part of a regular pool application.
Yes.
The difference is he's got to go and get the approval from the planning board on this.
Understood. Understood. He has to apply for the permit. You would deny the permit because he needs soil movement. He would have to file the soil movement application, and at that point, have a public hearing for that purpose.
Do we need to have a vote on the 60-day?
Yes, can you hear me, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it's the sense of the board members in attendance tonight, that the 60-day hiatus, if you will, on enforcement, as suggested by Chairman Fortunato, I would think, and Kevin Hanley and Chairman Fortunato, Chairman Hanley, correct me, that should be by action of the board. There should be a motion to support that.
I have no objection to that. I think that it would keep everybody's feet to the fire here. The question is when I said originally, I said the board does not engage in enforcement. There are other people engaged in enforcement in town. But it would show our position and also establish our good faith to the applicant that we are going to allow him sufficient time to take remedial action. So if we want to do a resolution, I don't have any objection to it. I don't know if it would be perfectly honest, I don't know if it would be binding in a court proceeding, but it would establish our position vis-a-vis this applicant and put him on notice that if he does not comply, that after the 60-day period, we would make an application to the enforcement agents in town to take action on the denial.
Mark DeGennaro, what do you think of such a motion?
I think that that would work. I mean, if the applicant is genuinely interested in pursuing a pool, then that makes sense.
Okay.
Could Ms. Caprio, Mayor Shanley, myself vote on that as well, or no?
This is a completely new application that we're talking about, so I would say you should be able to vote.
Does anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to allow a 60-day stay to do the removal of the soil and to let the applicant decide on how he wants to proceed.
I'll second it.
Ms. Caprio,
Yes.
Mr. On,
Yes.
Mr. Riato,
Yes.
Mr. Homicek,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mr. Pervin,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley.
Yes.
Chairman, are you abstaining?
Yes, I'm going to abstain on this, and if I can just speak after the vote's done for a moment.
Okay, that's everybody.
Mr. Whitaker, if you in fact have no objection to me being part of the next application, would you please put that in writing and submit it to Mr. Hanley so we have a record of that moving forward?
Absolutely, not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, board, for your consideration in taking this evening.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good evening.
Bruce.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Motion to adjourn.
Hey, before we adjourn, guys, just because Sarah may or may not be with us in the future, just on behalf of the board, Sarah, we hope that you're here with us in the future. If you're not, though, it's been a pleasure serving with you. I hope you're back on the board. I'm sure I speak for everybody. It's been a pleasure having you. You've been a great board member. So I wish you personally the best in the future, and I'm sure the rest of the board does as well. So safe travels.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, Sarah. You've been a big asset to the board.
Good luck.
I will be back.
And I don't want to lose you to California.
We all hope so.
Good luck.
I'm also confident we might be able to do a live meeting next time.
I hope so.
The governor had done a indoor meeting expansion of the rules to 25% of occupancy or 50 total. And I'm pretty sure we won't have 50 at our meeting. So I have a feeling we're going to be able to do a live meeting in town hall in July.
Really?
We'll have to spread out maybe.
Yeah, I'll have to confirm it with Bob just to make sure he's comfortable with it. And we could spread out as much as we can. But we'll see, because I mean, then we could do the Galasso application because
Maureen,
Yes,
maybe take us off live? Meeting is adjourned?
We're still live.
Well,
no,
you
we
need
still have to do a
you need a
motion.
motion. You need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I had made a motion.
Rudy,
I
second,
second it.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. On,
Yes.
Ms. Caprio,
Yes.
Mr. Iato,
Yes.
Mr. Homechak,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Boonstra,
Yes.
Mr. Pervin,
Yes.
Mayor Shanley,
Yes.
Chairman Fortunato.
Yes.
And